So you keep attracting emotionally unavailable people. I've got 10 minutes. Let's talk about it. When you start to attract emotionally unavailable people, the common default response to this is, well, it's probably because you're emotionally unavailable. Maybe not. The thing that I want to address in this is that people are a mirror, yes, and not always a match. So when you look in the mirror, you see the exact pants you're wearing, you see the color of your eyes, you see your hair, you see an exact reflection of you when you look into the mirror. Now, when we say that other people are mirrors for us, what we really mean from where I sit is that they're showing us something about ourselves. So I say, yes, they're a mirror, but not always a match. And what I mean by this is that if I say I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, it doesn't necessarily mean that I am emotionally unavailable. It could very well mean that I like emotionally unavailable people because the depth doesn't have to be there. I don't have to work as hard emotionally. I don't have to be as vulnerable with these people if I don't want to be. The conversations are very simple. They're very basic. They're very straightforward. There's no game playing. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? So I like to dive into this from the place of, so you're attracting emotionally unavailable people. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And what I mean by what are you going to do about it is, do you like it? Is that what you want? And if you want that, then great, keep going. If you don't want that, then look at where you are being shown something about yourself without defaulting to the match, without defaulting and making the assumption that, oh, I'm attracting emotionally unavailable people because I am emotionally unavailable, or I keep attracting clients who aren't ready because I'm not ready, right? That came up for me in business because it was like, early on, it was like, oh, I'm attracting clients who aren't ready to invest because, and mentors were like, well, it's because maybe you don't feel ready, or maybe you don't feel ready to invest. And I'm like, I have 15 years of experience in this field at this point. Now I have 21. And I've invested over like $100,000 in my personal growth. Neither of those things track. Here's what did track, though. I'm going to give you an example of this. What did track is I entertained those clients. I used the language that those clients use in their head. So I was actually, without realizing it, being the space for those clients. And I didn't shoo them away. I didn't actively repel them. I was afraid to do that, right? I was afraid to assert myself in that way at that time in my business. I was afraid to say, you know what, I hear you, and this is not a match for us right now. And so what I'm saying to you with regard to emotionally unavailable people specifically, because that's the title of this video and might be why you clicked on it, is you might be attracting emotionally unavailable people, not because you're emotionally unavailable, but because you don't tell them no thank you. And because maybe you get to train yourself in identifying the physical cues, the language cues, and the ways that emotionally available people actually move. So rather than being so attuned to the presence of emotional unavailability, I would ask you, how are you being attuned to the people who are emotionally available? Do you have people in your life who are emotionally available? And if they are, how do you know that they are? The people who are emotionally available in my life are not people who are easily offended. These people are not easily offended. They don't personalize everything. They ask me how I am feeling. And if they don't ask me how I'm feeling, they notice my cues. They notice, oh, you seem so happy today. Oh, you seem a little off. Is there something up? They inquire, they're engaging, they're curious, right? They'll check in. Hey, you're doing a cleanse. How are you? Hey, you're doing a fast. How are you? Right? Can I get you anything? You need anything? Right? They're attentive. They're engaged. They're like I equate emotionally available people to like a really good dance partner, right? This good dance partner, you both know what dance you're doing and you both have different roles in the dance, but you're like out there dancing together, you know? Whereas like the emotionally unavailable person has you like out there dancing and you're like looking at them like, you gonna come dance? And they're like, no, I'm not gonna come dance. So rather than going, oh my gosh, always personalizing it for yourself, right? Of like, oh, I keep attracting this type of person. I keep attracting people who cheat on me. I keep attracting people who ghost me. I keep attracting people who don't want commitment, right? So then you go, oh, well, where am I ghosting myself? Oh, well, where am I cheating on myself? Oh, well, where am I not committing to myself? And my answer to that is, where in your life are you not actively saying, I don't want this out loud when that behavior shows up? Where are you rejecting this behavior? And then where are you nurturing the people who don't demonstrate this behavior, who are faithful to you, who are in integrity with you and themselves, who keep their commitments, who keep their word? Are you acknowledging these people? Thank you for keeping your word. Thank you for always showing up for me. Thank you for being someone who is trustworthy. And then you can go, am I that for myself? Am I a trustworthy person for me? Do I keep my commitments? Do I honor myself? Do I say no when I need to say no? Do I say yes when I need to say yes? Do I go back and repair something that might need reflection, reevaluation? I need to revisit it. My mind frame has changed. Can I inform people of where I am in my process, and can I let myself be in a process? And these are the questions that will help you to discern what move you need to make next. Because again, if these things keep showing up in our world, they're showing up to show us something about ourselves, and they are a mirror, but they're not by default a match. You know, I don't cheat on people. So it's not the fact that in my life I have been cheated on is very strange because it's not a match to me. However, I tolerated people who thought that cheating was okay, which by default made it seem like I thought it was okay. And I didn't. And so I didn't say no. Didn't say no, that doesn't sit right with me. No, that doesn't align with me. No, I won't tolerate that. No, I absolutely have a zero tolerance policy for that, right? And that's where I think we get to be assertive, right? I'll never forget a time when I was dating this person and they got physical with me, and they did it under the guise of like being playful. And it happened once, and I looked at him and I said, don't do that. And then it happened again, like he was actively pushing the boundary. And you know what I did? I said, I asked you not to do that again. You did it again. It's time for you to leave now. And he left, and I never spoke to him ever again. Ever. Ever. I didn't look his direction. And not because of anything other than the most potent fuel to sustain something in your world is your attention. And so to continue giving that person or that behavior or that conversation or whatever your attention is, to give it the most expensive fuel you have. It's pouring 91 in that gas tank. And so for me, I made an assertion, and I've never had anyone get physical with me ever again. because it's an absolutely no. I have a zero tolerance policy for it. And I do not entertain people who operate that way. That is not okay with me. It doesn't happen here. It won't happen here. Do you know what I mean? So that's an example of being met with a mirror, right? I don't get physical with my partners. Absolutely not. So was his behavior showing me that I get physical? It's like, where do I get physical with partners? No, I don't. So yes, a mirror, but not a match. The mirror was showing me and giving me the opportunity to demonstrate who I am in that moment and what I believe in and what I must stand for myself and for everybody else in the world. That's what that was. So my question for you is, if you keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, do you like it? It's not a bad thing to attract emotionally unavailable people unless you don't want to attract that. And then if you don't want to attract that, then you get to assert yourself and be like, I don't have the space for this. And you get to learn how to identify people who are emotionally available, because I'm sure you have some in your life, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be able to know that there's a distinction between emotionally unavailable people and emotionally available people. You know what I mean? So where in your world do you get to say no? And where in your world do you get to redirect that focus, that currency that you have, that is priceless, that is non-renewable, into the people who actually show up with emotional availability, and learn how to spot them when you're out in the world. Learn to identify them. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.